Mines. I am the VP of Corporate Engagement at FDRA, and I run FFANY Market Week. So I'm excited to talk a little bit about what's going to be expected at the upcoming June FFANY Market Week. And I have a couple of guests on with me today. Nikara Johns from Footwear News, the senior editor at Footwear News. Welcome, Nikara.
Hello, hi Sandy. Thanks for having me.
And also here to welcome Kendall Becker from Trendalytics, the Fashion and Editorial Strategy Director. Welcome, Kendall. Thank you for joining me.
Hi, everybody. Excited to be here.
So today we're going to talk a little bit about spring, what's expected for spring 2025, a little bit about trends, a little bit about consumers, how they're shopping, what we're looking for, what's hot today, and then what's predicted for the future season. So I'm going to get started with some quick questions, and I'll throw it over to both of you because you're the experts and you're in the market, and this is what you do on a day-to-day basis. So we'll start with you, Nikara, to talk a little bit about today. What's happening in the market today? What have you seen people wearing in New York on a day-to-day basis? What are the hottest trends and shoes in the market today?
Sure. So I think Western's still continuing. I just went to Coachella actually, and that was a huge trend there. I think it will continue into spring 25, but maybe a little less. I guess we'll see if Beyonce goes on tour and there's more of Lana Del Rey and Post Malone. They're all really leaning into Western. I think you're seeing that trickle over into fashion. So that's exciting and fun. And then, slingbacks, they were all over the runways in September. And I think that will continue. That's been a nice, I guess, twist to a basic kitten heel that we've been seeing. And then also the ballet flat, that was big last year. I think it's big this year. And you're seeing that with a different twist too, with mesh, maybe different textures. So it's been a great season so far.
That's great. Kendall?
I'll continue off of that mesh comment, which of course, this has been blowing up like crazy. What is really interesting with Trendalytics being so data driven, that right now our 5 most accelerated trends, 3 out of 5 of them are still mesh. So just proving that the consumer is still really interested in it. And I think one of my most favorite things about working in trend is seeing these staple things that, we're getting used to this trend and seeing how designers start to interpret it different ways. So I'm still interested to continue seeing how, it's showing up just in the flat, but coming back into heels, into sneakers is, I think, one of the main points of focus right now. And then, of course, for spring, we're seeing that elevated flip-flop or sandal continue, very Tory Burch, very The Row, all of that good stuff. But again, excited to see how people begin to style that this summer.
Yeah, that's interesting. I've seen a lot of the variations of the Mary Jane and the loafer and the, anything that's accessible and comfortable. So yes, the sneakers continue to grow, but I think that people are expanding a little bit, right? And I heard that, I talked to Nikara about this a little bit too, about what she's expecting to see in market. June FFANY Market Week is around the corner. It's in a few weeks' time, June 3rd through 7th. We're really excited about that. We're looking forward to seeing what everyone's going to be showing. But we do expect the sandals and the Mary Jane and the mesh to continue in the spring, and I'm excited to see the variations of that. And I'm also interested to see what's going to happen with the men's market. Kendall, do you have any thoughts on the men's market that you want to share?
Yeah. I think jumping into men's, less of a concrete, but I think an overall theme that I'm really interested in and something we've been seeing men really resonate with is this hybrid shoe. And that can, look a lot of different ways, whether it's work and a gym shoe or the, hybrid of a hiking shoe with a sneaker. But that seems to really be resonating with men. And as we know, they only like to take so many risks at one time. And so I think having something that they're already used to feels like an easy way in to be trying new things.
That's great. Nikara, what's your take on men's market?
Yeah, so I tapped our men's editor at Footwear News, and he really gave me some insight to kind of the fashion guys, right? So these are maybe the people or the men who are taking risks, and they have their own version of a ballet flat that is it's just more of a flat, and it's not exactly a loafer, but they're definitely taking a risk with that type of style. And then the loafers are definitely going to continue. In terms of sandals, there's that fisherman style, which is kind of like the jelly shoe, more or less, for women. And you'll probably see that in leather and maybe loafer, or maybe a platform type or platform for a man. So that'll be exciting. And then he said the boat shoes are making a comeback. And I think we were seeing that a little bit on the runways. So yeah, I think the boat shoe. I think people are looking for a heritage classic styles as well.
That's great.
Yeah, I think
Go
I
ahead.
was just gonna say, I feel like that's a very overarching theme of both men's and women's. As you mentioned, Sandy, going back to that Mary Jane, there's a lot of talk of this like classicness and bringing back this very nostalgic feel that I think with the boat shoe, I've been seeing some people online starting to call it a yacht shoe, like trying to give it a little elevated spin that I thought was really cute.
That's great. And what about like mules for men? Have you been seeing a lot of that or the slides or anything like that, Nikara? Did you?
Yeah, I mean, Birkenstocks are not going anywhere. Crocs are not going anywhere. But then there's so much elevation from other brands in terms of those slip-on. And shout out, I don't know if people know the Mule Boys. They're this great account. These two guys, and they just showcase all the hot mules, and Birkenstocks is, I mean, clearly just a staple.
Mhm,
So I think that will 100% continue just in terms of ease and comfortability. Yeah.
mhm.
That's big.
Um, I'd love to hear a little bit about consumers and their shopping trends. Do you want to talk a little bit about that, Kendall? You're, Trendalytics, you're really in the weeds and understanding what the data is showing in terms of shopping trends. So talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think it's been very interesting getting to work with Trendalytics and seeing this data. How much, when you start to hear something about being whispered on TikTok and it starts to get picked up in the press at Footwear News or wherever it might be, to see those numbers really react to it. And, having been in trend forecasting before all of this too, very fascinating that it isn't such a clear pipeline, which of course we've been hearing for a while now, but really be able to see those reactions in real time, which I think presents a really interesting, way to approach trend as a brand or as a retailer where, instead of just thinking about it of, okay, we want to integrate this trend into our assortment. And that was, pretty much it. Or maybe we're going to integrate it into an ad campaign, things of that nature. But now there's a lot of different ways to be playing with trend, whether it is the way that you're merchandising something on a website or being able to react really quickly to something in an email marketing campaign or to post on social, where that let's say the mob wife aesthetic, for example, that's going to be a flash in the pan sort of deal a year in advance. You're not going to be putting that into your assortment, but how can you still react to those things and be listening to your consumer, what he or she might be interested in? What are those things? What is she talking about? To be able to have those in the moment reactions, as well as diving into that underlying theme of, let's say, it's classicness and wanting to get back to basics, wanting something comfortable, and then taking that ethos and mindset and putting that into your assortment strategy or design strategy.
Right. That's real.
100%. Oh, can I add something quickly about
Yeah,
that? Just,
please.
I think you mentioned the mob wife aesthetic, and that took off on TikTok. And I think what we're seeing now is this tennis core, which is not new. I mean, most brands have a court shoe, right? But like with the Challengers and Zendaya and that movie, I
Mhm.
think brands were able to capitalize on that moment and kind of showcase their classic, like white sneaker court shoe. And I think it's just being able to react with what they have. And it's interesting to
Yes.
watch and stay like in the moment on TikTok in pop culture as well.
Mhm.
That's interesting. I'd love to hear a little bit about what you guys are seeing in terms of fabrics and colors and buckles and embellishments. Do you want to share a little bit about what you've seen? I mean, Nikara, you've been to the fashion shows, you've been to the parties and the events, and you mentioned Coachella. Like, what have you seen in terms of trending colors and what you're expecting to see, in June market for next spring?
I think raffia is going to continue. I mean, it was big on the runway for 24. So I would think that will continue. It seems just like a classic. White, I don't think that's going to change. I think white will still be big. I'm not quite sure about red, right? Because there was always the pop of red was really big. I think it's going away a little bit now, but I think everyone likes a little pop of color. But neutrals will stay. And definitely, I like a metallic, so I think metallic can continue.
Kendall?
Yeah, so I think right now we've just been seeing satin start to be hitting this spring. And again, leaning into this whole classic idea, I think that is going to blow up even more in both accessories and ready to wear for spring 2025. Now we're getting the inklings of it. It's getting that stamp of approval from tastemakers. You're starting to just really find those wearable ways to see it tap in. So coming to spring 2025, I think this is going to be a huge theme to continue on. I'm feeling really good about hardware and buckles as well. Love to see a lot more of these creative takes, like looking to the Chloe belt that we saw in spring 2024 and starts to, just plant those seeds of what do those things look like? How can we continue to have fun with hardware in cool, fresh ways? So I think for fall already, that's going to be huge. And then continuing that into spring 2025. When it comes to color, of course, I think this red still has legs throughout the end of the year. I think there's going to be a lot of beautiful burgundies. We're seeing searches even just continue to grow for burgundy, even in a time right now, spring, summer, that isn't, that key time. But I think that's going to continue into fall. Coming up to spring, I think navy is really going to have its moment again. We saw this rise on the runways, and it feels a little bit more of a rich blue rather than a washed navy. So I'm excited to see that grow. And then I'm thinking a lot about peaches and shades of orange for spring 2025. Feels like a really nice, fresh take on the pinks and the reds that we have been seeing. We're also seeing a lot of that color happening within beauty, which is a good way to lay the foundation that the consumer is getting used to seeing that. She's excited about those shades. So excited to, continue to see how it plays out in both ready to wear and accessories.
Yeah, that's interesting. I've seen a lot of the bright colors. I mean, we started with like the bright pops of like poppy pink and bright bold colors in 2024. And now it's starting to soften a little bit. I've seen a lot more in the pastels. You mentioned peach or burnt orange, and then I've seen a lot of pastel in more of the lavenders and a softer pink. Really trending right now, and I see that continuing in the spring. So it's interesting your take on that. I like thought of navy and the neutrals. I mean, definitely I feel like that's going to continue, especially as we're all talking about sustainable leather and using raffia and using jute, like lots of different yarns and fabrics and things of that nature. Denim just continues to be super strong. I think that I'm a fan, so I'm here for it. So I'm hoping that continues into spring. But couple other questions. Actually, let's go into one last question on trends, and then I'm going to do a rapid fire hot or not. The last question I have is for kids. Have we seen anything new for kids footwear? I know that sneakers, everyone talks about it. I love the fact that the jelly, the Melissa, like that kind of shoe is trending now for spring. I know the characters are still fun and there's so much going on in that land. But have you seen something interesting on your end, Nikara, that you want to share about the kids market?
Yeah, I think it's still all about sneakers, but then like the diversity of sneakers, right? So I think their brands are leaning into sports style running shoes for kids and not maybe we're stepping away from the retro looks a little bit, and running is huge in the, I guess, adult market. So I think that's trickling down to the kids as well. Basketball shoes and then soccer. I think like Samba's obviously had a major moment last year. I think for kids, I don't think that's going anywhere. And then slip-on styles, obviously that the ease, I would assume is still, I think that's what parents are still looking for.
Right.
And Birkenstock and Hey Dude are brands that pop out to me.
Yeah, anything that's quick and easy, right? Something to easy to get into easily, you know, the Velcro, the slip-on, the Crocs or the Birk, or, you know, I mean, those are obviously trends that are definitely not going away. And it's, you know, some of those brands are doing really, really exciting new variations of it or collabs and fun things. So I think that is absolutely going to continue. And of course, the Mary Jane, that's such a classic for girls in the spring. So that's going to be exciting to watch. All right, I'm ready for some rapid fire questions to close this out. I promise that we stick around 15 minutes. So let's go with I'll start with Kendall in terms
All
of
right.
first question is designer sneakers. Are they still going to be in the spring, hot or not? High-end
Oh,
luxury premium sneakers.
I'm going not.
Okay. Nikara.
Oh, no, not, yeah, not as well.
Not. Okay. So things are softening on that end. All right, let's try something else here. The soccer sneaker. We talked a little bit about this before, but do we think it's going to continue as strong in the spring, or we think it will soften as well? Kendall.
I think hot, but different soccer sneakers, but still soccer sneakers.
Okay. Nikara.
Yeah, 100%. I think a different take, but still hot.
All right. In terms of embellishments, buckles, I mean, we've seen them everywhere, small, large, different variations of buckles. Do we feel like the spring they're going to continue? Is that like the embellishment of the spring footwear lines? Kendall?
I'm going hot.
Yeah,
Okay.
hot.
Nikara. Okay. And then last question for hot or not. I'm gonna go with Mary Jane's. Spring Mary Jane's. Nikara, what do you think?
Hot.
Hot,
Oh, sorry.
hot. Hot.
Hot.
They're
Okay.
different, outside of classic Mary Jane's.
All right. Outside of okay, so variations of all of those different styles that we talked about. I think we covered a lot of that already in the beginning of the conversation. So I do appreciate you guys giving your intel, your expertise, your thoughts, and your predictions for spring. Really looking forward to seeing everybody in New York City in June for FFANY Market Week. I know Footwear News is working with 210 on a great event called Women Who Rock. So if you haven't signed up and you haven't gotten your tickets, please join us there. Right, Nikara? Do you want to share
Yes,
anything
please
about
be
Women
there.
Who Rock?
Yes, we have a great lineup of some designers and brands, and I think, you know, it's just about supporting women, and we're talking about mentorship, and I think it's going to be great with 210. So please sign up.
Great. And Kendall, do you want to share some of your contact information in case anyone wants to get in touch with you to further the conversation about what's happening in the market? What is
Absolutely. If you are interested in talking trend, learning more about trend's relationship with data, all of that good stuff, feel free to reach out. It's Kendall, Kendall, at Trendalytics.co.
Wonderful. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I really appreciate it. It was a lot of fun hearing about what you guys were predicting, and thank you so much.
Thank you. See you guys
Thank
later.
you.
Take care.